Welcome, everyone. I'm pleased to get started with the event today. So as a way of introduction, my name is Leonardo Gerlando. I'm currently the partner at Happy Valley VC. I'm also an investor in Dortmund Fund and Dynamo Ventures. And I'm very pleased to have you all join us today to celebrate Penn State's entrepreneurship. So let's give a round of applause to Penn State entrepreneurship, please. Today we have a stellar judge panel joining us today, from alumni to investors that are going to be judging the pitch competitions we're going to have. We have 6 of the best startups at Penn State joining us today as well. We have still a presenter that is going to be joining us very soon. He's on our way, but you'll see him when he comes. He's going to go last. But with that, I'm very pleased to introduce you guys to Happy Valley's VC's advisor and director or executive director of the Farrell Center, Dr. Miller, for a few words. Give a round of applause, please.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jeanette Miller. I get to spend my days, I have one of the most inspiring jobs at Penn State. I get to work with student entrepreneurs. Some of my student entrepreneurs are here. Hand up, yeah. And I also, so I'm the director of the Corporate Innovation Entrepreneurship major within the Smeal College of Business. I'm also the associate director of the Farrell Center for Corporate Innovation Entrepreneurship. It's an endowed center at Smeal, and we fund different initiatives to support entrepreneurship across Penn State. We have been one of the, we've funded the prize money for this competition for this is the 4th year now. And we are just so excited about the opportunity and to see how it grows, et cetera. When I first came to Penn State 3.5 years ago, Matt was one of my students, and we kept talking about how Happy Valley Venture Capital could be a significant player in the ecosystem. I do want to recognize, and I'm also, my third role is I'm the advisor for Happy Valley Venture Capital. But I want to tell you a little bit about what they do. It's all student run. Everything that's happening today is based on the hard work of these students. It is a extracurricular activity for them. They don't get any course credit. It's all on their own. So Leo and his whole team, everybody from HVVC, stand up or put your hand up. You need significant recognition for everything you've done. This is our future. The ecosystem at Penn State is amazing for startups and entrepreneurship, and you're getting to see part of it by being here in the Innovation Hub. You were just downstairs in the launch box. There's so much happening here. It is the best place to start something, which is Startup Week. Do you want me to hand it over to Lee, or are you going to? So Lee Erickson from Invent Penn State, she's going to talk a little bit about what that part of the ecosystem does. So welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Match the microphone. Okay, question. How many of you have an idea for which you think you want to start a business right now? Keep those hands up. And this is Velociraptor hands. No one can see this, okay? So this is a hand up. How many of you don't have an idea right now, keep those hands up, but think you want to start a business at some point in your life? Okay. Now, if you have never heard of the Happy Valley Launchbox, keep your hand up. Okay, that's a problem for us, okay. The reason I'm asking you is the Happy Valley Launchbox on the 2nd floor, which some of you started off, has some significant resources for students and community members. I want to talk about that in a little bit. But here's what I've learned. Jeanette was talking about working with students, right? Here's what I've learned working with students over the last 5 years. The ones that start early and test ideas and are in competitions and talk to other people who have done it are far more likely to be able to find an idea that has traction, okay, and to be able to get to a point where you know whether or not it's a viable idea before you graduate, right? So if you are just starting in your senior year, sometimes it's very hard to convince the parentals that you should go off and start a company, right, when you haven't really done it long. So for you and all your friends, my recommendation to you is start early, build your network with events like this, learn about lean startup, okay? What's the #1 reason that startups fail? Nope. Not according to CBICC Insights. That's a very big one, but it's not the number one reason. Oh, well, yes, but that's, Royce knows. What is it? They make products that nobody wants. Okay? Oh, I know this would be great. I know this, I have this problem. So if you understand lean startup, customer discovery, how to test the market quickly, you're more likely to be able to find a product or a service that somebody wants. So learn lean startup and put yourself out there. So Launchbox, downstairs, second floor. Co-working, it's free. We have accelerator programs that will take you through validating your idea, through testing the market. And the big kahuna is Summer Founders Program, which gives teams $15,000 grant to work full-time on their company over the summer. Okay, you get lots of mentoring. There is legal clinics where you can get free legal advice. All of this is at no cost, and we take no equity in your idea at all. The other thing to look for is, if you're going to be around in the fall, is there's a new makerspace that's coming on the first floor. It's a 7,000 square foot makerspace that's going to have 3D printing, CNC machines, a complete wood shop. So that is going to be free, we hope, and open to students and community. The other thing to think about is, we know about Startup Week, so all this week. GEW happens in the fall, and of course the Entrepreneurship Minor is a great way to learn about things. If you have an idea and you're not sure what to do, you can go to the Launchbox website and sign up to just talk to a coach, and they'll help you with next steps. We will never tell you if your idea is good or bad. If we intrinsically knew what a good idea was, with all due respect to everyone in the room, I'd be on my own island right now, okay? Right? But what we will help you do is figure out whether or not it's a viable idea and you want to move forward with it. So the last thing, I'll leave, is Wednesday night at around 8:20 after the keynote, we are doing a mini challenge in the Launchbox where for less than 90 minutes you can win $100. Yeah. So tell your friends, come see us all, and good luck tonight for those pitching.
Thank you. Round of applause, please. So we're going to talk a little bit at the end about what is InnoBlue, what is Happy Valley VC, and the two amazing organizations making this happen. But to get started with the pitch competition, I would like to introduce you, or have the judges introduce themselves. So you can pick up the mic, and you guys have about 1 minute.
Hi guys, my name's Peter Aaron. I'm from Innovation Works in Pittsburgh, and Innovation Works is Pittsburgh's leading pre-seed and seed investor. We make about 40 investments every year in pre-seed and seed companies. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Round of applause, please.
Hello, I'm Jim Steinbeagle from the Alleghenies Angel Fund. We are a consortium of about 50 professionals and business owners in the Altoona, Johnstown area, and we're interested in making angel and seed stage investments in local businesses in Pennsylvania and also the broader Appalachia region. We all do have day jobs, so I am not a professional angel investor, but I'm very excited to be here and to hear some of these pitches. Thanks.
Hey guys, my name is Nikhil Bharadwaj. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Zeal. I also went to Penn State, graduated 2018. Zeal is a venture-backed electric car charging technology company, and I'm glad to be here.
Hey everyone, I'm Matt McHugh. I graduated a bit after Nikhil in 2019. Was one of the early founders of HVVC along with Nikhil. Totally pumped to see everything that's grown since then. Currently working at Red Ventures, but I'm excited to see what you all have to share with us today.
Awesome. Round of applause for the judges, please. With that, we're going to get started with the pitches for today. So please welcome the founding team of the Ballet Scout. Round of applause.
Good afternoon. Okay. My name is Sasha Arstani, and I'm the co-founder and principal software developer of the Ballet Scout. I'm joined today by Eugene Ryu. We have matching ties. He is our other principal software developer, and he's a current cybersecurity major. And sorry, I'm a recent computer science graduate. Our other co-founder, Robert Fulton, who you can see here behind our logo, is a business major with Penn State, but he is primarily a professional dancer with the Nevada Ballet Theater. Is there a thing to switch? Okay, thank you. So, I'm blanking. How does this start?
How long and how hard that you worked on whenever looking for college or your first job?
Okay, I got it. Dancers have to do this multiple times every year as they audition to reach the next level of the staircase you can see on the screen. Just like thousands of other dancers, Robert and his parents every year had to spend countless hours each year scouring the web for information on programs to fit his needs, but to little success due to the cutthroat nature of the industry and a lack of a centralized place to find this information. Dance is incredibly hard. Only 10% of aspiring professionals make it to that level. However, 90% of those who do succeed are those who are able to find the right information. That's why at the Ballet Scout, our mission is to ensure that all dancers are able to pursue their passion, no matter their age, level, or physical ability.
At the Ballet Scout, we believe that dancers should be spending more time dancing than scouring the web. That's why we've developed a subscription database of jobs, auditions, and more, where students, parents, and their teachers can find the perfect program for their needs. We list over 400 companies and thousands of auditions and jobs, along with custom functionality like search filters, such as tuition, age, and scholarship availability, so that everyone is able to find the perfect program for their needs. We also have additional functionality built into the site to make the search even easier, such as being able to bookmark and compare programs, as well as tips and tricks created by the professional dancers on our team in order to further give insight into the ballet audition process. However, we're not just interested in helping students. We also want to help companies, especially mid and smaller sized companies, to gain exposure and fill spots in their programs. That's why we provide advertising opportunities directly embedded within our site, so that these companies can get even more exposure from students who are looking for programs. Since our launch in the fourth quarter of 2021, we have generated over $10,000 in revenue. We've accomplished this in 3 primary ways. First, through selling subscriptions to individuals at varying time frames, as you can see here on the slide. So far, we have 1,200 users and 180 premium users. The other 2 revenue streams deal with companies. First, through allowing companies to take control of the information listed on their site for a fee, and then as well as providing advertising opportunities embedded throughout the site. We've already sold all of our initial ad offerings and plan to add about 20 more in the coming year. Now you may be asking yourself, well, how big is the ballet market anyway? And it's larger than you might think, with a market cap of $4.1 billion, 4,000 schools, and 100,000 students located across the world. Our goal to capture this market is primarily through bulk subscriptions marketed directly towards companies. This not only removes a marketing burden from us, but ensures that our tool is presented as an essential for the audition process directly to students from their instructors. At the moment, we only have one direct competitor, balletauditions.org. We believe that we are in a much stronger position to capture this market due to the greater volume of information on our website, our custom functionality, such as our search filters, as well as our easier to use user interface, especially on mobile devices, which currently accounts for 80% of our traffic. We also have a much more active social media presence ran by the professional dancers on our team, who are able to create useful and engaging content for our users.
Since we began in 2019, we have come a long way. We first began by developing an MVP and launching it with a small test group of dancers to get feedback on our product. Last year, we won the Idea Makers Challenge and used that mentorship and funding to develop our MVP into a real product. Since our launch in late fall, we have had great success in both users and sales. Looking to the future, we feel we are poised for even more success because of 2 main factors: team and timing. We are a very well-connected team. Myself, Eugene, and Robert grew up in State College together and have been friends since high school. Additionally, Robert and other members of our team are professional ballet dancers. They have used their industry connections to make business deals, as well as their knowledge of the industry to pull customers and tailor our sites to the needs of the students. Our amazing team, combined with the opportunities in our near future, for us to expand, we feel we are really ready to get this to the next level. We have an incredible opportunity this summer to be part of the Summer Founders Program at the Happy Valley Launchbox. We plan to use the mentorship from this program to spend the funds we win at HVVC wisely. Our two initiatives will be to develop our product further, as well as launch an extensive marketing campaign. And we hope to use these two to fully capture the market. Once we've achieved that goal, we plan to expand by tailoring our model to help students in other art forms. Choose us and help the next generation of emerging artists pursue their dreams. Thank you.
We have about 3 minutes for judges Q&A, so any judge that has any burning questions, please feel free to jump in.
Hi guys, great work with really impressive traction you guys have found with both your ballet users and advertisers. Can you talk about your plans to acquire more users? Or are you focused on geography, or how you're gonna grow that user base 10x, and who you're going after for more ads?
Yeah, so at the moment, our big initiative are these like bulk sales to companies. So the idea is sort of go to like the instructor or director of a school and then not only sell them an ad spot on the site, but also say, hey, we have this service of subscription database available that can make the audition process a lot easier for all your users. So that way, then the director can sort of disseminate that among the school, and then they'll all sign up as well. That's what we found the most success with so far.
Awesome, thanks.
Can you just comment on the nature of the market on the dance school side? How fragmented is that market, or do these tend to be like coalitions of schools that all operate under like a larger structure?
So there's about 100 like very like well-known schools that sort of had advertising taking care of them already, just based on name recognition. So we're really trying to capture like mid-level and smaller schools. These mid-level schools have a pretty sizable budget and are usually pretty big. I think it's about 20 to 40 students, maybe in 50 to 100. But since they don't have the name recognition of these larger schools, they struggle a lot with filling spots in their programs. And then conversely, a lot of these students who aren't able, maybe they don't have the financial backing, or maybe they don't have the financial backing to be able to like get into one of these top schools, so they just end up quitting dancing. We want to prevent that, and so by making students more aware of these smaller level schools that might be a better fit for them, hope to keep more people involved in dance in the long term.
Thank you.
Great presentation, thank you. Sounds like from a team perspective, you have members who are very close to the market, there's founder market fit there, but moving into other dance art forms, maybe thinking beyond arts into maybe movies, casting. When you think about that, are there any specific insights that you've unlocked that from your ballet MVP that could potentially be considered as something that you guys have been found specifically that could be applied into the arts realm in general?
Yeah, so one of the big things that we found out with ballet is that a lot of it actually revolves around like gig work and seasonal work. So that not only like comes back and helps bring users back to our site, but I think that can be extrapolated to a lot of the other art forms as well, where maybe you're an actor and you need one place instead of just like trying to find gigs like, I don't know, like on flyers on the street or something, or like just having one centralized source, I think will be really effective for a lot of these like gig-based occupations. Regarding ballet, I think that we want to sort of hit industries that are tangentially related to ballet first, since we'll have the most familiarity with them. We've already received some interest from accompanists, like whenever you're performing, you need music as well. So there are some accompanists who are looking for jobs through this site as well. And then there's I think one or two, I think even figure skaters who have reached out and said, hey, do you have anything that's sort of tailored to our market as well? The eventual goal is to sort of become just a platform where people from all art forms, performing arts, can just come and like find work.
Great presentation, guys. I just had one question. Do you have a sense for the customer acquisition costs at this point?
In terms of how much money we are spending to try and get people to find out about our site and come to it?
Yes.
So we have spent a few thousand in marketing. We currently are at 1,200 users and 180 paying users. And we also have, like we were mentioning, a big thing for us is our social media presence, because our audience is pretty young, and we feel that targeting them through that, not only through advertisement, but just creating engaging content for them and keeping them feeling connected to us throughout the year is really important. And we have, I think, over 1,000 followers now, which we started from 0. So it's been really great to see that. And it's another great way to connect with them. And people reach out to us on our Instagram and say, hey, I like this about your site, but this is one thing I don't like. Could you add this? And so that's really been a good way for us to acquire customers.
Awesome. A round of applause, please, for the Bullet Scout. Next, we have Table Rock Markets. A round of applause for Jake, please. Aiden.
Hello. Howdy, y'all. My name's Jake Grimm, and I'm the CEO of Table Rock Markets.
And I'm Aiden Rauscher, CPO.
In 2019, I dropped out of college. Returned home to work on my family's farm. During uncertain times for the entire world, I saw how everything turned digital while farmers were left behind. This ignited my burning desire to return to school so that I could solve one of the biggest challenges, one of the largest and oldest industries in our country. Aiden, why don't you share with everyone here the problem we were trying to solve?
Sure, Jake. It starts with a simple fact. Of every dollar Americans spend on food, farmers receive only 18 cents, while the rest is eaten up by the supply chain. Selling direct to consumer lets farms secure at least 90 cents of the dollar. However, 9 out of 10 farms don't utilize these sales channels. What's worse is that farms underutilize websites, with barely 6% offering online sales. This is not sustainable, and less so when online grocery retail is projected to grow to $500 billion by 2030. So Jake, what's stopping farms from selling direct to consumer online?
Time and technical knowledge. Building and managing a website is too time consuming for most farmers to fit into their busy schedules. Many lack the ability to manage a website, let alone build one. But we've had conversations with hundreds of farmers across the United States, and I can guarantee you that they're looking for modern websites, but they don't want to quite be as responsible for them. Table Rock Markets enables farmers to meet the new digital standard by allowing them to acquire new customers by leveraging digital tools built for farmers by farmers. Our online platform was built hand in hand with a local farm that generates about $5 million in annual sales, which has made it seamless for other farms to begin selling online with our service with very little technical ability. Each farm's online store exists in our connected platform where consumers can find new farmers and shop online.
We're planning to disrupt a large market. As consumer trends shift to fresh, local produce and healthier options, farms have an increasing need for direct sales channels. Likewise, online grocery retail is growing rapidly, with consumers showing a preference for pickup.
Since launching the first iteration of our marketplace 8 months ago, we have facilitated over $325,000 in online sales through a pilot with 2 different farms, reaching over 950 active consumers. Since then, 2/3 of these consumers have continued shopping online with these farmers, which is almost double the average e-commerce customer retention. Over the winter, we have onboarded an additional 12 farms to our platform who will begin selling on Table Rock Markets this spring with an additional 10 farms on our marketplace. You got it. You're ahead of me. In the past 2 months, we've attended 7 ag-related conferences, which has given us the opportunity to validate our roadmap and expand upon our customer discovery. Even better, our brand has been gaining substantial support from leading agricultural industry media.
Our pilot generated revenue by charging a 2% take rate. But in order to meet our farm's desire for convenience and to help them promote their individual brands, we're switching from a centralized marketplace to individual sites with built-in stores. Under this model, we'll generate revenue by charging a monthly service fee as well as a tiered take rate based on a farm's sales volume. This model will allow us to increase the lifetime value of each farm and position our business to scale.
Our competitors share a disconnect with farmers, capital-intensive business models, and charge outrageous fees. Our team is deeply rooted in agriculture and charge reasonable fees validated through our customer discovery. Plus, we are geographically centered amongst the densest regional market. But our greatest asset is our team. Growing up on a small farm instilled my passion for agriculture and curiosity for technology. As a member of the Future Farmers of America, I've received their highest honorary degree, as well as several national awards. Aiden knows all things computer science, and he's one of the fastest learners on our team. He's obsessed with the intersection between emerging technologies and business. And our CTO, Hunter Doves, is a programming wizard, and he takes great pride in our back-end infrastructure.
In the next 18 months, we'll work to develop our product into a robust solution to meet all of a farm's tech needs. First, we're going to switch to the individual sites and also implement tools to help farms with digital marketing. Then we'll look to optimize the workflow within the farm supply chain through call-in features that enable farms to interact with the platform out in the field where they might not have internet, as well as using data aggregation to suggest optimal distribution channels, specifically with farmers markets. And after that, we'll look to streamline logistics by connecting farmers with local distributors. With our team's vision, experience, and ability to execute, we will shape the future of American agriculture. Thank you.
Great presentation, guys.
Thank you.
So what's the next step for you? You know, if you had capital right now, how would you deploy that and what would you do?
Yeah, so like we said, we're switching to individual sites. And so what our next milestone is developing an integration based around the commerce we have now that we can deploy individual farm sites with that commerce. And then also we want to build a pipeline where we can streamline the development of those sites, because site development is kind of a manual process. So kind of making it as automatic as possible so we can minimize the amount of effort and time required.
So kind of going from an Etsy for agriculture to a Shopify for farmers.
Yeah, great presentation. And so are you focused on solving the farmer's problem rather than the consumer's problem?
Correct. So working with these farmers that have tried using other e-commerce platforms to sell online provides a lot of confusion for them. So we're trying to make that process simpler for them.
All right, awesome, thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, so the best strategy that we've found to connect with farmers has actually been through newspapers. So we've tried digital advertising through like Facebook and Instagram to target these farmers, but it hasn't been that effective. But being in papers such as Gettysburg Times, Lancaster Farming, Farm and Dairy, Ag Choice Farm Credit, the leading industry media, it brings farmers to us every time.
And we also have kind of a mini network effect with farmers markets. So we get a farm that attends a farmers market, then other farms at that market start to see them using the platform, they hear good things about it, and we can start to connect with them.
Any other questions?
And a cool thing with that, just last week a farm in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania hosted a workshop for Table Rock Markets and invited all the farms that they knew in the area, plus gave us barbecue, which was delicious. And now those farms are also joining.
So one last question. How much value can you drive for the farmers? Like how much can you increase their take?
So Twin Springs Fruit Farm is the main farm that we started working with. We kind of refer to them as a guinea pig. And well, they told us we can call them that. Their sales since integrating online, selling into their business model has increased by 20%.
And on top of that, you have the increase in margins, about a 5% increase in margins. I mean, I'm sorry, 5x increase in margins from 18% to upwards of 90%.
With the wholesale to retail.
Do you think going from an Etsy model to Shopify, once you get there, do you think the technical lift for them in terms of website management continues, or do you think the call-in side of the business is going to be more important?
I think it's still going to be like that traditional like web page interacting with. The call-in features are nice because specifically with inventory management, they're out in the field, they can update through these call-in features. But when we do like the Shopify for farmers model, right? It's Shopify, but like all of the variables are the ones they care about, right? So just mainly focused on putting up their inventory, collecting orders, and being able to fulfill them, not necessarily like the design of the site.
Got it. And it sounds like majority of the traction and activity happens around when they're looking to sell produce. Is there anything you're thinking of in the other seasons, right? Like, is there specific features that you're looking at?
Yeah, so in terms of features for farms, we've looked at potentially doing reports on sales. So looking at what a farm's done during the selling months and saying, this is what we think you can do better. And they can able to use that report kind of for their off-season planning when they go into the growing season. And then in terms of us, right, because there's kind of a produce season to help with the lag in sales. First, looking at a lot of kind of new urban farming techniques, like getting those farmers on the platform who might have more consistent sales throughout the year. And then also additional sources of revenue. Farm lending is massive. It's a $7 billion market on its own. So potentially looking to sell data for some of our farms to banks that they're interested in lending from.
And you were asking produce, so some other goods as well. So like the beef industry is also really big for us. Probably about half of our farms that have joined over the winter are cattle farms.
No, that's time. Thank you so much, Table Rock Markets. A round of
Thank you.
applause, please. Next, we have Parentive. A round of applause, please. Hold
Hello?
it for 1 second. Yeah.
Okay. Raising a special needs child is a very challenging job. Imagine seeing your child start suddenly banging his head against a hard wall repeatedly and he can't communicate why. Imagine not being able to potty train him at 10 years old. Imagine not knowing when or if he will ever be able to be independent. We are Parentive, and we are imagining a world where parents of special needs children don't have to live in the misery, fear, and guilt that comes with wanting the best for their children. Currently, there are over 30 million special needs parents in the United States who report experiencing stress comparable to combat soldiers. In the current system, parents communicate with therapists and schools via time-consuming and outdated email or paper communications. In today's digital world, it is baffling that there is no alternative. There are over 13 million special needs children in the United States who exhibit challenging and unpredictable behaviors, and this number is only rising with each year. Of these millions of children, a staggering 86% have unmet needs for therapy services. There is clearly a desperate need for change in the current system. Parentive fills this gap. Our main goal is to help the parents so that they can help their kids. Through our scalable, secured, and HIPAA-compliant platform, parents can keep track of stressors and collaborate with experts in a timely manner to alleviate stress and confusion. Parentive provides a one-stop platform for schools, therapists, and parents to collaborate for better therapy outcomes. We've already partnered with the Helping Hands Family, which is a large therapy organization for children with autism. Parents can also create personalized intervention plans in an evidence-based environment. I've been working on Parentive with my close family friend Manish, and he is the proud parent of a 10-year-old son with autism. Manish has experienced the stress that comes with raising a special needs child firsthand, and he knows the pain points of the current system. Our technology stack is Google-based, and Beth, our advisor, is the director of a research lab at Temple University focused on helping children with autism. Here are visuals of our actual product. As you can see, parents can track stressors labeled as challenges, collaborate with therapists via chat channel, view data graphically for analysis, and create personalized intervention plans for the children. A key feature of our product is that it is personalizable. Parents can easily create, track, and remove challenges or intervention plans as they see fit. Not every child is the same, and we want to provide that flexibility for the parents. We've estimated our TAM to be the U.S. telehealth services industry, which amasses to $16.6 billion. Within this, we will be targeting families with special healthcare needs, narrowing our reach to $4.4 billion. Of these families, those with access to public and private health insurance yields our final target market revenue at $4.1 billion. There are not many players in the competitive landscape here, so we aim to dominate this space. Our initial business revenue plan will be based off of subscriptions from the parents. We offer two affordable options, an annual $80 plan or a monthly $10 plan. As we gain traction and exposure to established therapy organizations, such as the ones displayed here, we plan to incorporate them into our business revenue model as well. Eventually, we plan to allow these therapy organizations to offer their contents or services through our platform, and we would take a commission of that offering. These are the top 5 key features that Parentive offers our users, which differentiate us from our competition. These are our top 3 competitors. Sprout and Answers Now are service providers themselves, not platform companies, so they are not open to introducing other therapy organizations. All these companies fail to provide collaboration between the parents and therapists, where both sides can create plans, view data, and communicate with each other. We stand out because we provide this key collaborative feature. Our product roadmap our app is set to launch this year and will be available for download on the App Store by parents. And we plan to continue partnering with other therapy organizations to provide other therapy services on our platform. We are also currently working with a Japanese company for wearable technology, and our vision in the long run is to process petabytes of data from millions of kids, apply deep learning models, and provide prescriptive therapy via chatbot for a better learning and behavioral environment for the kids and a better quality of life for the parents simply at their fingertips. The grant from this pitch competition would allow us to move forward with acceleration to market, research and development, promote our access to established therapy organizations, and help us impact a very important community in need in our society. Thank you for the opportunity and your time.
Judges?
Great presentation, and really interesting problem you're looking to solve. Can you talk about like how your app could help a parent, like walk me through a use case in solving a problem with their special needs child?
Of course. So an example I can give is Manish. His child, his name's Arav. He started banging his head against hard surfaces repeatedly, and Manish and his wife didn't know what that meant or how to deal with it at all, and it was very stressful for them, and they were very scared. So what our app does, it allows you to log the counts of the incidents that happen. So say you want to log 3 counts of head banging in a day, and then you can see that graph like of each day, and you can see the progress of the child. And like I mentioned, the collaboration aspect between the parents and the therapists, they can work together to make plans to counter that. And previously, Manish had the schools telling him to do one thing, and the therapists were telling him to do an exact opposite thing. So it was very confusing. So our app provides a united front for all.
I get you. Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
On the competitive matrix, I saw communication with therapists and collaboration. What's the difference between collaboration and the ability to connect with a therapist?
Well, communication would be just the chat channel, so it's just basic like text messaging basically with images and videos. Collaboration means both sides can create intervention plans. Like there are folders that you can create so both sides can make plans and be on the same page.
Got it. Thank you. And specifically, how do you see building defensibility within the company given the competitors, and how do you think about building a moat around this?
Well, there currently no other platform companies exist similar to us. Like I mentioned, Sprout and Answers Now are service providers, and Autism Tracker Pro is very limited in its features. Manish has actually tried the paid version of that, and it's not good enough. So we would be the first to start this. We would be the first disruptors in this industry.
Great presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
So the app didn't launch yet, but when it does, how are you going to drive adoption to the app? How are you going to attack the market?
Of course. So Like I mentioned, we've already partnered with the Helping Hands family, which is a large therapy organization. And we will begin by reaching into their customer base because they have many patients. And we've agreed to allow the parents who first choose to use our app a free trial run as incentive to get them on our app. Also, Arv has started school at a government-backed school, so we have plans to penetrate that market as well. Getting government,
awesome.
Yeah.
Do we have a last question?
Knowing that the product isn't launched yet, how have you validated and tested some of the features that you've put into it so far? And have there been any key learnings of like pivots you've made to the product based on some of the testing you've done?
Currently, Manish is the only actual parent who has used our app. However, we have lots of backing from Helping Hands family and several other organizations, and they've confirmed the viability of the product. We just have to get it out there and see what, yeah.
Thank you.
Last, please.
Thank you.
With that, let's welcome the founder of Unbaked Flour Company. A round of applause.
All right. Hello, guys. So we are the Unbaked Flour Company. My name is Hannah Carney. Sorry. And this is my team. So we have Peter DiMartino, Tara Pickens, and Andy Paff. We are all graduate research assistants here at Penn State. We work in a human gut microbiome lab in the food science building. And we have the coolest job ever because we get to see every single day the impact of what we eat on our health through our human gut microbiome, actually, which is really cool. So every single day, we really, it's been brought to our attention just how prevalent digestive disorders are here in the United States and globally. So 62 million people are diagnosed with a digestive disorder every single year. A lot of these are due to the frequent consumption of ultra-processed food. Twice as many women suffer from digestive disorders compared to men. And especially in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, it's really interesting that 70% of our immune system is actually located in our gut and can be modulated through what we eat. So to help solve some of these problems as scientists, we developed Whole Holes, which are a no-bake donut hole product. They are a great source of prebiotic-resistant starch, which helps feed the probiotic bacteria in our colon. And they combine the power of these prebiotic-resistant starches with healthy probiotic bacteria to support the microbiome as a whole instead of just treating it in an isolated way that supplements do. So we are symbiotic, vegan, free of refined sugar, soy-free, grain-free, gluten-free, and we support full circle health. So we will initially be offered in 3 classic donut hole flavors. So we have our plain glazed, our chocolate glazed, and cinnamon sugar. So what are symbiotics? This is a very new term on the market right now that very little people know about. So our prebiotics are the resistant starches I was talking about. These help feed the probiotic bacteria in our colon to then give us all of these health benefits that we really want. So the market for this, as we can see, is going to be huge, and it's continuing to grow as more people are becoming aware of this breaking edge research that we get to witness every single day. So by the end of this year, actually, it's projected to be worth close to $280 billion. So we're really hoping to be ahead of the curve on this one. So these are some of our competitors. As you can see, we cater to so many different lifestyles and so many different needs, so many different people. And it's continuing to be a more sought after, I don't know, companies are trying to obviously just be for more people with different needs. So we are vegan, non-GMO, gluten-free, free of refined sugar. We plan on incorporating a compostable packaging for the eco-friendly individuals. We will not have any puffed up protein, which just kind of refers to synthetic proteins that are really harshly isolated. And we are symbiotic. And as you can see, nobody else really compares. So whole wholes will be sold individually for $2.50 per serving, or by the dozen for $10. And that is all, that will be at a 67.7% profit margin. So to produce these, the average cost per dozen is about $2. And as I mentioned earlier, our estimated consumer market size is continuing to grow, but right now it's estimated to be worth about $280 billion. And so our 2-year goal is a sale of 200,000 donut holes, and we will be projected to get about $1.6 million in projected revenue. So our vision as a company moving forward, we really want to create a community around this product, kind of through our consumer shared health needs. We envision our brand to go beyond just healthy snacking, and we really think that we're going to change the way that people think about health food here, or packaged food in general. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you for your presentation. What are sales today, and how do you get to 1.6 million in 2 years? Is it having a distribution relationship, or is that still direct sell to consumer?
Yeah, so we are quite literally a startup. We have nothing in sales right now, but we are, through funding, we're hopefully looking into getting into farmers markets by this summer and starting sales there, and also setting up a website for some kind of e-commerce. But we would want some funding to go into hiring somebody to help us develop this website, because as scientists, we're not well equipped to do so. I have done it in the past, and being a full-time research assistant, teacher, and like all of the lab responsibilities, it gets a little crazy. But so we would set up e-commerce through our website. We would have direct-to-consumer sales through farmers markets initially, and then we would look to scale up to wholesale retailers. Like Wegmans, Target, Whole Foods is great with local businesses. They're really, so those are the goals moving forward.
Hey, Hannah, great stuff.
Thanks.
So I'm super into like kombucha. So I know about probiotics, but so tell me more about like symbiotics and why is a donut the best way to get them?
Yeah, so a donut's the best way to get them because one, a supplement doesn't always reach the target because it has to go through your whole digestive system, right? So it doesn't always, like that probiotic doesn't always get there intact and viable. So what we're doing as a symbiotic is we're combining the food that the probiotic needs to survive that process with the probiotic itself. Where if you're just consuming a probiotic, it's not guaranteed to actually do anything when it's actually in your body. Like it may not grow, it may not be viable, it might die on its way down. So that's where we're really, we're actually looking to get a patent on a unique probiotic strain that perfectly pairs with the kind of fiber that we're using in formulation so that consumers can have the peace of mind of knowing that the probiotic is actually doing something for your health and it's not just something that they're just spending more money on for nothing.
Thanks for clarifying.
Mm-hmm.
I have another question about the symbiotic science.
Yes.
How frequently do I have to eat these to get the health benefit, and can I overdo it? Just thinking about like what the plan is for like the recurring sales, like how frequently would people be buying these?
Yeah, so these have a lot of fiber in them, so I feel like it'd be really hard to overdo it because fiber is extremely filling. But in terms of, overdoing it, don't eat them more than like 5 times a day. But I don't know, but like once or twice a day, or really it's just a good, healthier option. It's not really, so it is a snack food, but it is almost a supplement as well. So you can take it every day, for sure, like you would a vitamin.
Thank you.
And when I have samples too, by the way, I don't know how comfortable everyone is going to be, so I brought our prototype right now that we're working with, but.
I'm not too familiar with the space, but are there any regulation certifications that need to be involved? And is symbiotics a trend? And if it is, some sort of defensible IP that you're developing, could it be licensed to other product lines? Food.
Yeah, so it's really not a trend yet, but I really think in the next 3 to 5 years, it's going to explode. I think everybody's going to know what a symbiotic is in another 5 years. I just think, like, given our position as being so involved in this cutting edge research, I feel like we're exposed to it every day, and we just take that for granted that most people don't know what a symbiotic is. But I really think as we're starting to publish our papers, the word's going to get out there because it just makes sense. Like, why would you not combine a probiotic with what they need to survive? So, and what was your other? Oh.
Sorry about that, but
No.
a round of applause, please.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. With that, we have next Ithaca.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome, and a round of applause for the founders here.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Zion. Did you know that the average landscaper spends 16 hours a week on administrative tasks like invoicing and estimation? And because 94% of landscaping companies are owned and operated by fewer than 20 people, they almost never have the dedicated office staff to handle these kinds of tasks for them. Landscaping is a service business, so the time these owners are spending on these tasks directly equates to money they aren't making. While Joseph and I were growing up, we worked for a local landscaping company where we saw these kinds of problems firsthand. We started out pulling weeds and eventually made our way up to running our own crews and creating estimates for customers. However, as we took on more responsibility, we also became more frustrated with the many problems facing landscapers today. Even experienced estimators sometimes lost money on projects, and tasks as simple as sending out customer invoices were a weekly struggle. Once, another landscape business owner even told us she spent over 2 days sending 800 individual invoices just because her software didn't have the ability to send them in batches. Our boss, having experienced many similar issues, sent us on a mission to find new software to help. What we found from that search was that current offerings were either duct taped together by landscapers themselves and far too difficult to use, or created by white-collar workers who had little to no understanding of our industry's day-to-day operations. They all had glaringly similar workflows and failed to improve upon the customer experience, leaving users feeling frustrated and annoyed. As we progressed as students and developed complementary skill sets in UI/UX design and cloud computing, we saw the potential for a solution that leveraged both our understanding of technology and landscaping operations. So we set out to build a platform that was well designed, both from the perspective of a landscaper and a software developer.
To improve these processes, we're creating a simple and easy-to-use user interface that streamlines workflows and auto-populates invoices, as well as an estimation feature that uses machine learning algorithms and historical data to ensure that estimates retain their profitability, all increasing the automation and usability of these tasks. During customer discovery, where we were able to talk with over 30 landscape business owners, we were able to determine that solving the clunky invoice process alone could save companies approximately 45 minutes a day. By the estimate of one landscape business owner, this could generate an additional $300 in revenue per week and over $15,000 annually. When you consider the 580,000 landscaping businesses that make up the industry today that are owned and operated by less than 20 people, that $15,000 represents an extra 6 months that a business owner could have kept an employee, which is a responsibility that we know all business owners can relate to. The rate of innovation and technology adoption in the landscaping industry is really low. In fact, the CEO of one of our main competitors found that less than 5% of landscaping companies currently use software. Despite that, 1.9% of the $114.6 billion market is still spent on IT services and software each year. Moving forward into the future, we're really excited to launch our prototype in July 2022, built out with our key invoicing and estimation features. In November of 2022, we'll finish beta testing, deploy our ML models, and have analytics deployed. Even though our software will be compatible with mobile devices, upon large request, we'll use the winter to develop a mobile app. We've seen firsthand the nightmare that landscaping companies have without anyone to handle their administrative tasks like invoicing and estimation, and have fallen in love with solving the problems plaguing the industry today. That's why we're building Ithaca, a business-to-business software as a service company, bringing landscapers into the 21st century by leveraging new technologies so that estimators, designers, and foremen can focus on what it is that they do best. Thank you.
We should have time for one question per judge. So,
Great stuff, guys, especially your customer discovery. Can you talk about what your ideal customer looks like?
Yeah, it's a great question. Like I said, 94% of landscaping companies are owned and operated by fewer than 20 people. So obviously our plan is to start targeting probably companies between the 5 to 10 employee range. Further, we're planning, because of our marketing strategy, on targeting specifically kind of these younger people that we think we can relate to better and that we know are not going to have software in place already. There's no switching costs. So there's lawn care influencers on platforms like TikTok and YouTube, and we plan on doing some affiliate work with them because we know nobody's watching a landscaping tutorial video on YouTube just for fun. So that's all going to be largely our target market there.
Just a point of clarification. What is it about landscaping that's unique that QuickBooks is not solving compared to, for example, roofing as an example?
I got this one. Yeah, so I think when you're looking at the industry, the rate of innovation is really low, the rate of technology adoption is really low, and less than 5% of companies are using software right now. So that includes QuickBooks. So to me, I think obviously there's not a solution out there that the typical landscaper really finds satisfactory. My dad owns a landscaping business. We grew up in landscaping. And these are not people that want to sit in front of a computer for any time out of the day, really. They're not going to customize software to them. And one of these quotes we keep coming back to from our customer discovery interviews is, I just want a button that makes me money. And so that seems quite obvious, but designing something that's really, really simple, and they get home from their day of 16 hours of mowing lawns, they click a button and invoices are sent out. That's really all they're willing to do. So a lot of it's still done on pencil and paper.
Thanks. Just going back to those customer discovery interviews, would you say then, just want to confirm that you're mostly competing with people that are doing this by hand, not necessarily just existing tools like Excel or QuickBooks, is that right?
Yeah,
I can take that one.
Please.
Yeah, so in a lot of the customer discovery ones, it's a healthy mix of QuickBooks, Venmo, Square, and even some mail checks. And these people are sending them sometimes 6 months late, and just really not getting the full use of it. And they keep just telling us, like, they hate building out these things. One of the quotes we had up was, every landscaper hates estimation or invoicing. And so they're really not satisfied. And even just posting in some of the Facebook groups that we're in, because that's where a lot of them reside, you're getting 50 to 60 people reaching out and commenting and being like, how are you going to solve this process? Like, please. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So don't similar products already exist for plumbers or electricians? Couldn't they just repurpose that software, for landscapers? Sorry, why couldn't they do that?
Perhaps they could. I haven't looked into it. I think at that point you face the same, if not a greater barrier as you would just doing the same thing with QuickBooks or some other software that's not meant for landscaping, right? So they've taken QuickBooks or some similar functionality, and they've designed it specifically for plumbers. If you take that and then try and redesign it again for landscapers, I really don't see that as being any easier for landscapers as a business owner, and they're not technology talented people. So
yeah, and our main mission is to combine, the software skills that we've developed, as well as the landscaping skills, to combine it all into one thing so that they don't have to switch off of these platforms or learn how to use these other platforms and apply it in their industry. We want to give them something that's really easy to use, give them a money button, and develop the software that we believe they deserve.
And that's time. A round of applause, please. So with that, I'll ask for a minute here as we change the screen 1 second.
That's on me. Thanks, Leo.
It's working. Slow, but it's working.
Oh, good.
It's loading. Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys.
Relax. Let's relax. It's all good.
Yeah, can you just share wireless again?
A round of applause for Limitless NAL.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sean Clifford. Now, you might know me from the football field right over there. I play for Penn State, and I am the quarterback for the past 3 years. Now, I have a little bit more to me now with the creation of NIL. Now, NIL, name, image, and likeness, came out this past year, July 1st, 2021. And it actually, my story goes all the way back to October 11th of 2019. Now, I was talking to a guy that I didn't even know at the time, but now he's on my team, Trevor Robinson, and I'll get into his story a little bit later. But I was talking to Trevor in a creative advertising class. Now, in this class, we were prompted by the teacher to create a brand or rebrand a company. And instead, I went in a little bit different direction. I went and said, you know what? In the future, I'm going to need to know my brand. So I went to the teacher. I said, can we please do my own brand, the Sean Clifford brand? He was like, all right, why not? Did it, got an A. Was really excited about it. And from that point on, my creative advertising career kind of took off. So with that being said, I'd like to get into you had to turn on. Thank you.
Hello? Ooh, now we're talking. So, the problem of NIL, right? So, what is NIL? I said name, image, and likeness. And the thing is that right now, the problem is there's a bunch of professional companies. You're talking Athletes First, you're talking CAA. If you know these names, these are agencies that deal with professional athletes on a day-to-day basis. All these people are trying to dip their hand into the cookie jar of what is now college athletics and NIL. The solution for us, obviously, is budgeting, investing, content creation, partnerships, and media management. But overall, the number one problem that college athletes have is time management. I almost didn't even make it to this because I had practice. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm good. I have time. I don't take as many classes here. That's a perk of being a super senior. But at this point in my career, I've learned that there is a huge market for this, and there's a huge need for athletes across the country to get the exposure and the marketing going forward. So what is Limitless NIL? Limitless NIL is our mission is to build cutting-edge personal brands with like-minded athletes, student athletes, through the roots of education. Now, how do we do this? We have partnered with a bunch of different companies. We have talked to athletes across the country, done surveys, and figured out what they are looking for. Now, to give a little perspective on my last year as it dropped, as I said, July 1st, I made over $100,000 in earnings, met numerous brands across the country, shook so many people's different hands, and I even gave back to a community, YSB, that is near and dear to my heart for $15,000 through a brand deal through Allstate, which was fantastic. Now, Katie Feeney, many of you know her from her TikTok dances, her deals on social media, but Katie Feeney is much more than that. She is our Chief Marketing Officer. She does a fantastic job of educating and evaluating student athletes' brands across the country. Now, as we have just launched a couple weeks ago, we currently have 11 clients. We are 100% success rate because student athletes understand how important it is to get more than just the partnerships. It's about marketing and content creation. Now, in 2022, the market was $500 million, and it is projected to move to $1 million in 2023 for deals across the country. Now, I go into partnerships. So we have 3 pillars. Financial literacy, which is number 1. We partnered with Beacon Point, a financial wealth company located out of California, to be able to accomplish this. Now, to get in the door with a Beacon Point, you'd have to have $500,000 in investable assets. They have lowered that down to 0 because they understand that the clients that we're dealing with do not have the capital to be able to get involved with this. But when money is coming in at this big of a rate, we need, as student athletes, the education, the financial literacy, to be able to then create opportunities for us in the future. The second part, brand education and content creation. We have all of it. We're an agency. We operate the same way as any other creative agency. Logo design, website creation, graphic designs, you name it, we got it, and we're expanding as we speak. The peer advisor program. Now, this is something that anybody who's a student here at Penn State can get involved with. We are currently in the talks with the College of Communications to make it a course at Penn State. But long story short, we are allowing interns to now come into the company and manage our athletes on a day-to-day basis. This gives them an extraordinary opportunity to be able to interact and deal with student athletes and athletes in general to then prolong their future with management, I guess, athlete management. Now, I can't say enough how important my team is. As you can see, my brother, who's also a Penn State football player, is a freshman, but it goes across the whole team. Nias Hawkins in the back, Chief Athlete Officer. Trevor Robinson, I was talking about before, is now our Chief Peer Advisor Officer, sending out trends, spreadsheets, whatever it is for the peer advisor to make sure that the content is perfect for the athlete. Brad Kraut, brand relations, reaching out to brands across the country. Drew Britt, content creation, and then Katie Feeney. But that's what it truly is about. It's about the team. It's about the athletes, and it's about moving this whole atmosphere, this whole ecosystem in the right direction, because currently we're seeing so many big agencies try to just dip their hand, and what we're trying to do is be that historical movement to change student athletes forever. Thank you.
We have about time for one question per judge, so anyone that has any question in mind, feel free to jump in.
So why would somebody choose you as opposed to a traditional agency?
Yeah, yeah. So there's the competitive atmosphere right now is thick, and right now, as I said before, there's agencies, professional agencies that are trying to dip their hand. The thing is that they only do talent representation. They aren't in the content creation space. They don't deal with financial literacy. I dealt with it this whole past year. I actually got screwed on numerous deals because they didn't come to my right side to be able to help me navigate what I was going through. This is a whole new atmosphere. Literally, July 1st was the first time that this was able to happen. It was a historic moment for all of college sports. And now, as student athletes, we have the power. We have our name, our image, and our likeness to be able to create a business, to be able to capitalize monetarily, or give back to our communities. The opportunities are literally limitless, and it is really, really cool to be able to see and be able to be a huge player in this, as I'm a 6-year senior here at Penn State and a notable player across the country. So it's, you know, that's kind of our blue ocean there.
Hey, Sean, great stuff. It's super exciting, and it's great that you guys are finally getting to cash in. Can you talk about, like, as you're building out your agency, like, what bits of the business do you think are going to be most important to nail?
Yeah, 100%. Content creation is number one. It drives what the athlete is, right? If you're not marketable, you could be a 5-year starter, the best in the country, but if you don't have an Instagram, what are you going to promote anything on? So it starts with content creation. And then once we get into that content creation, it's going out and marketing them. Talent representation, which we have with Katie, myself, all the athletes that I've worked with. We all have numerous contacts across the country for brands. And then it's nice because now Beacon Point is handling our financial literacy. And it's actually a funny story. Make sure I get it in quick. My left tackle in high school, who had my blind side, is now working at Beacon Point and is the point man at Beacon Point for Limitless. So now he has my client's blind side today.
Hey, Sean, thanks. I understand that you started this marketing your own brand. Moving forward, like, what's the vision for going? Is your vision to stick with this at Penn State, expand to all the athletes here, or expand from that edge in the Penn State ecosystem to other universities?
Yep, 100%. We've already taken over Penn State. As I said, 11 clients, and 6 of them, I believe, are Penn Staters. Now we've already reached out and gotten 3 other schools involved. We are going to literally try to take over the country because we believe that relationships is much more important in this day and age with this market than any sort of, you know, thing you could offer, a brand deal that you can offer, right? We're here. I'm a player, and I'm for the players, right? It's by the players, for the players, as you've seen at the bottom of the sides.
Thank you.
So it sounds like you have the marketing memo within the team. You have the brand. What do you need the capital for?
The capital would be fantastic because as a creative agency, right, as you can see, I got my guys here. They have a bunch of equipment, but the more equipment that we can get for the creative side, whether it be cameras, whether it be video, that capital the capital that we raise here will go directly to that. Because as you can see, you know, that rinky-dink little camera right there is not going to do the job for numerous athletes across the country. So we'd like to expand on that and really grow our creative side. As I said before, how important that is.
Awesome. A round of applause for Limitless.
Thank
please.
you.
With that, we're going to have the judges leave the room for deliberation, and We're going to have a couple folks here lead you guys. We're going to get started with our keynote for today. And bear in mind here with 1 minute as we bring her up. Hello? One, two, three. Hello? Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep, very slightly. Let me turn on the volume here a little bit. Can you speak a little louder?
Hello?
I hear you. Do you hear us?
I can hear you. Hello?
Welcome, Rachel. Welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Leo?
Very good. Well, I'll pass it on here to James. He's going to lead the keynote for us. And awesome to get started.
Sure.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. My name is James Shryock, and I'm one of the partners at Happy Valley VC. And I will be hosting the keynote tonight with Rachel. So during our keynote session, Rachel and I will discuss her journey managing operations and communities at PayPal Ventures, a leading investor in fintech, commerce, and infrastructure, as well as Plug and Play, one of the world's best startup accelerators. We'll go over what it means to cultivate entrepreneurial communities and what makes them unique, while sharing applicable tactics and advice. So with that, I'll get us started with a few questions. So Rachel, it seems you've cracked the formula for starting and building a strong community and startup program. Is there a recipe for this? And if so, what are the ingredients and the steps?
Well, first, hi, everybody, and hi, James. Thank you guys for having me. Wonderful event. So inspired by all of the pitches today, and you guys should be feeling really accomplished today. There was no facilities like this when I was a student at Penn State, so congratulations. In terms of there being a recipe, geez, I mean, look, it's something that I'm building my career to figure out, but I think the first piece is understanding what a community is, right? So it's local founders, local operators, universities and academic advisors, institutional and angel investors, corporations, and consumers. You know, I mean, it's not uncommon for founders to get really wrapped up in the aura of finding mentors and, you know, academic advisors, and then forgetting that you know, your consumer is your core bread and butter, your core, you know, knowledge resource. So you have to be customer obsessed, I think, to really survive. So I think having all of those elements, access to all of those facilities and those resources is a good place to start.
Awesome, certainly. Thank you very much for that. Going off of that, could you share some personal stories that you have as your time building these communities and what they've taught you and who has helped you get started in building communities and working at PayPal Ventures?
Sure. So maybe it might be helpful to give some context into how I got here. It's a bit non-traditional, but as all of you understand, in the world of entrepreneurship, there's no such thing as traditional, right? But I originally got my degree in journalism, and the first presentation tugged my heartstrings a bit, and dance was my second major and the love of my life. But eventually, after college, was doing some writing and getting involved in the local fitness community. You know, we're talking 2016, the birth of the Fitstagram and early Instagram influencers, and was located in my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and essentially started a blog with a few friends of folks asking us, you know, write an article about the new berries boot camp that's opening, or the newest juice shop, or where I can go hiking. We eventually took that business to scale to be a consumer-facing lifestyle brand. So that was really my first startup experience. And I really found my groove and my drive when we would do rounds of institutional funding. So decided over time that I wanted to sort of be on the other side of the table, and Plug and Play as an accelerator was always a brand that I was super familiar with, but didn't really understand the model so much. So wanted to learn more and sort of jumped into Silicon Valley head first. And I think around then, you're talking 2019, you really saw this oversaturation of the venture community, right? Valuations going through the roof, and everybody's building or in raising. So I really became obsessed with this idea of how can investors add value beyond the check? How can you build a community? How can you build a network? How can you help founders from the ground up to scale and be successful? So I'm now with PayPal Ventures, where we're trying to crack exactly that. So in terms of specific anecdotes, I think anytime I'm able to connect founders from different backgrounds or different industries and help them find synergies to work together, those are my most successful moments. And I think the reason why I do what I do.
Awesome. Yeah. So throughout your journey, how has your perception of what makes a good community change throughout your time?
Being a non-technical sort of entrepreneur of sorts, I'm not an engineer. It's this perception that everybody that you need to surround yourself with will be super versed in AI and ML and super technical, and it's not necessarily the case. For me, I learn the most when I ask my founders, break down what you're building for me like you were to your mom, right? I want to know who you're selling to, what keeps you up at night. So I think sort of addressing networking and talking to folks from that lens and encouraging them to do the same and to branch out, maybe beyond what would be, the quintessential founder networking events and things, to sort of reach out, talk to your local business owners and local SMBs, talk to other student founders or founders from different stages, talk to different academics and mentors, just really trying to diversify your network, because you'd be surprised how much you can learn. And I think, a strong founder always has conviction, but is willing to take in as much information as possible as a sounding board. So being flexible in your conviction, and just hearing as many points of view as possible.
Awesome. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk more about, as you're building the community, how are you keeping track of how successful you're being? Are there KPIs that you're tracking, or how are you keeping on top of that?
Yeah, look, I got to tell you, that's the core of my job here, and something that we're trying to figure out. It's hard to put metrics behind what is just human connection and innovation, right? So when I figure it out for sure and develop a formula, you guys will be the first that I shoot that over to. But again, it's any time that I can connect the dots for people, can connect two founders or two folks that are working on separate projects, maybe that find a synergy, or that can land a large commercial deal, or something that catalyzes their growth. Those are metrics to me, even if they don't show up super clean in an Excel sheet.
Right. I know it is hard to track.
It takes being boots on the ground. It takes getting out there and talking to folks and again, having the conviction behind what you're doing, but also being willing to be challenged and to hear other points of view. You'll really start to understand where you stand in the landscape of the full ecosystem.
Right. And then from the member side of the community, what does an active member look like, and how do they make sure that they're staying active in the community?
Again, I think it's dependent on your role, in terms of if you're a corporation, if you're a small business, if you are an angel investor, for example, if you are an engineer that's looking for talent or looking for employment, but it's just staying connected and staying in the loop. And I think, again, folks really tend to get wrapped up in what they should be doing. So not being afraid to be non-traditional in your approach, and to, again, hear as many points of view as possible. I think everybody's role will look different and should adapt over time, because just as the public markets affect everything that we're talking about today, everything will look different year to year and even quarter by quarter. So just really staying conviction and staying passionate in what you're doing, and really staying focused, I suppose.
Right. So then, how are you keeping the communication between the members feel authentic and not maybe more like networking? How are you keeping it like personal?
My personal style is to start just talking about everything except maybe the business. Explain to me what you're doing, like you were explaining to your mom, for example, what keeps you up at night. Not being super, super jargon and language heavy. But again, also realizing that this idea of community and networking event doesn't have to be a structured, founders happy hour or some mentorship event, office hour. It can truly just be meeting like-minded people over the internet or in person, and meeting folks for drinks and taking 30 minutes out of your day to take a lunch break or a coffee meeting with somebody new that you've never met, sort of blind dating, professional blind dating. I think all of those elements and fitting them into your day-to-day, just as part of being an operator, part of being a founder, part of being an investor, whatever your role is. It's what makes the job fun, but it's what makes things feel very real, right? And not super networky.
Awesome. So I'll take a second here to open it up to the audience. If anybody has any questions, I'll bring the mic around and feel free to ask away. If not, I can just keep going myself. But so when you're building a community, are there any like misconceptions are there any misconceptions about how you build a community, like what the steps are, maybe if you're making a wrong step, like what are the common misconceptions when you're building a community?
I will say I have experience, with my time in Plug and Play being more focused in pre-product, early seed to maybe early A companies. And now in my time with PayPal Ventures, we're looking more, A to B in higher rounds. So I think understanding the trajectory of what is an early founder versus what is a mid to growth operator, it's a very different sort of persona or client profile for those of you that are sales focused. So understanding what the needs are of each of those groups, I think is critical to building a proper community, right? It's not just putting everyone in a Slack group and throwing a happy hour on the calendar, but maybe for early founders, it's, they need office space, they need a place to actually operate, they need academic, research resources. For somebody maybe a bit further in their journey, they need to sign as many customers as they can, as quickly as they can. How can I help in that process? How can I get the messaging and the narrative across that I'm behind these guys and you should be too? So I think really being flexible and adapting to the group that you're working with is critical to being a strong community builder.
Awesome. I think we have time for one more question. So kind of a wrap-up question. Why is it important for a company to have a community like that fits their mission or their effort? And why is it important to build a community around that?
Look, I think all of you guys that are building really incredible products and companies might experience, might not at school here. It can be a really siloed process, and it can be a bit of a grind, absolutely. And it's one thing to have, endless resources like Penn State at your fingertips, but it's completely a different animal when you head out there into the world and really want to take something to the next level. So I think surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and at least my personal philosophy is don't be afraid to not be the smartest person in the room, right? Whether you're hiring, you're looking for advice, mentorship, don't be afraid to be vulnerable and surround yourself with people that you can learn from, because that's the whole ball game, right? It's not always who gets there first, though speed is super important in what we're doing. Historically, there are examples like, General Magic and Apple, for example, of not necessarily who's there first, but who can get there in the most calculated and intelligent way. And it's just undeniable. And I believe those are the founders and the companies that win.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time. If we could get a round of applause for Rachel.
And congratulations again on a great event.
So I guess we do have one more time for an audience question. If there's anybody that has a question they would like to ask, I can bring the mic over. Awesome.
Hi, how are you? I was just wondering, where do you see PayPal Ventures in the next 10 years, optimistically?
So optimistically, I guess depending on what criteria you're referring to, can't speak a lot to our specific investments, but we're just, I can tell you contextually, we're closing out operating out of our second $500 million fund, upwards of 55 investments as of last week that are public. I can tell you we have a bit of a North Star that we're trying to execute stronger around different global markets and this idea of democratizing access to financial services, especially empowering SMBs. So I think you'll see us play a lot more into that space. We're involved in a lot of other spaces that I'm sure all of you guys might play on in your wallets, but can't speak too much specifically to where we're looking, but can say that we're broadening the scope for sure.
Yeah, is there any other questions from the audience?
Thanks again for coming out. I wanted to ask, what does PayPal Ventures look for in a founder, and what do you guys find are the qualities of the founders that are typically having like the most success, regardless of if they're technical, non-technical founders? What are sort of the core tenets that you see time and time again that leads to them being successful?
Yeah, I really enjoy this question. I think for us, it's being bullish again on what you're building, but again, founders that surround themselves with really strong core teams, founders that are able to not only be experts in terms of modeling and whatever they're building and whatever their field of expertise is, but surrounding themselves with a really strong team. And again, being able to very articulately lay out the difference between what is a growth or an early stage company and where our numbers are tracking, and what my role as the founder is and how that will progress as revenue increases, as clients increase, and as this becomes more of an operating machine. I think those would be the big two that I would look to. So general team and sort of the personal maturation of the operator and the founder.
Awesome. So I think with that, we have officially run out of time now. So if we could give one more round of applause to Rachel.
Again, thank you, Leo, James, Amy, Ashley, I think, Derek, congratulations. You guys should all be super proud. Please stay in touch.
Thank you very much for your time. With that, I'll pass it off to Leo.
Thank you so much for holding up, guys. Anyone still doing the survey? I'm assuming not. It was very, very simple survey. But in the meantime, we hear from the judges. They're already finalizing the decisions for the awards. Just to have a breakdown so we're on the same page. We're given about 9 different awards. The first one is going to be to the best startup. It's going to receive $10,000 in non-dilutive investment. The second startup will be receiving $5,000. The third startup will be receiving $3,000. Then the fourth, fifth, and sixth place will be receiving $1,000 each. This year, thanks to the advice and the help we have been getting from the Pharrell Center for the past couple of years, we have decided to actually do a little change in the way we do awards. And we are also incorporating the People's Choice Award as you guys are voting, and we already got the votes going on. We're also going to be giving an award away to minority founders as well as to ESG founders, which all of those 3 awards will also be $1,000. With that said, I also wanted to share a little about what is Happy Valley VC, what is InnoBlue, and what is this event we're all in here about. And on the front of Happy Valley VC, This is a student organization that started in 2017 with the goal of filling the gap in our campus at Penn State on connecting and engaging students into what are all the startups out there and who is helping those startups grow, right? Those are startups that are using very innovative either technologies or business models to tackle really big problems in our society or even our world, like we see here, all the finalists that we had today. And Happy Valley VC connects students with these tech startups, right? We have programs where we have guest speakers and we have pitch competitions like we're doing today. We have international competitions where we bring students as venture fellows and we teach them all about venture investing, understanding how startups are built from 0 to 1 and how do you even go about scaling those startups. And beyond that point, what we pride ourselves about is trying to work around with InnoBlue, our brother sister organization, to try to foster a community within Penn State for all the student founders, all the student builders, all the students out there that want to become venture capital investors or conversely want to work and help other startups either locally or outside of Penn State. So for the past couple of years, we have been building the network. We have been bringing people together. And I'll be very frank, this is the first time we have so many people together in one room, passionate about this common goal. And I really would like to have a round of applause to, again, celebrate entrepreneurship at Penn State. With that, I believe we're ready. I see the judges here, so judges, feel free to join us here at the tables. And in the meantime, we get our prizes here. I would love to hear for the judges if you have any specific feedback or any general comments you would like to do to the students that we're pitching today, anything that you would recommend. I would love if each of you would jump in for a minute or so.
Yeah, everybody did a great job. I mean, I think my experience is with pre-seed companies, and like we also invest in a lot of companies that go into our accelerator, and all of you would be very competitive in our accelerator. So I think they're all like very investable companies. So bravo. And it was very challenging for the judges. Bravo.
Yeah, I want to echo that as well as everything that Leo said before. Having been at Penn State really at the inception of this organization and a lot of these initiatives at Penn State, starting with Barron's initiatives and the Happy Valley Launch Box, and then all the student-run organizations that have come to support that even further. I'm just super proud of everyone involved here today in organizing it, but also the students that continue to come and pitch. Thankfully, we have increasingly more money to give away. I think the first time we did this, I'm not even sure if we gave away any money. I don't know how we tricked people into wasting their time on us, but super impressed by all of you today, and thank you all for coming out.
Yeah, I'm going to sound the same note. I think as a founder myself, it takes a lot of courage to take the first step. So hats off to you guys to actually go out there with your ideas. It takes a lot of courage, and as a founder, you will have a lot of challenges, and you put yourself out there today. So congrats again for participating, and it was really challenging for us to come up with the best winner for this particular competition. So again, congrats.
Yeah. I echo everything that these other judges said. It was a pretty difficult deliberation, and very proud of the Penn State student community to come out here and do this. Not easy presenting your business idea in front of a panel of judges, so everybody did a fantastic job.
A round of applause for the competitors today. With that, in the meantime that we have our prizes still coming up, definitely was a very competitive process. I'd love to welcome Dr. Sean Clark. He's the director of the Farrell Center for Corporate Innovation and Entrepreneurship. He's going to give a few words And then we're going to welcome as well, please, Ted Greif, the director of the engineering entrepreneurship major. Both of them were really the reason why we were able to give the money to these student startups. So without them, we wouldn't have been able to do this possible. So a round of applause for the Farrell Center Engineering Entrepreneurship.
Thank you very much. Ted and I are really pleased to be a part of this. It's easy for us because we just provide money, and it's hard to let go of it, but when we see companies like this, it's easy to do. We're really enthusiastic about this program. We hope we can continue it year by year. We look forward to the partnership with Happy Valley Venture Capital and with InnoBlue.
Thank you. So, you know, one of the really gratifying things here is that we've got this great Penn State, Invent Penn State ecosystem now, and there's a lot of entrepreneurship happening at Penn State. And, you know, one of our jobs is to help these student teams get started on their journey into the ecosystem. You know, we get them into the launch box, and then the launch box can get them out to Ben Franklin, and then we can get into the investment community and have these Penn State startups be incredibly successful. So it's just it's wonderful to see everybody up here today, see all your great presentations, and you know, we really wish you the best. Whether you're winning tonight, you've definitely already won by just getting up here and doing a great job. So thank you very much.
So guess what? We're still waiting for the checks. That's still upcoming, but in the meantime that we wait for the checks, I actually, oh, thank you. No, if you have something to say, please feel free to jump in. I was going to welcome questions, so.
Thank you, Leah. Just one more thing I did want to add before that I didn't was when like InnoBlue, especially HVVC, was getting started out, that we were speaking to many student organizations around the country at other universities for advice about how to get more of an entrepreneurship ecosystem kickstarted here at Penn State, and to further, again, what I said before about what had already been done here. And so many universities and students like scoffed at what we were doing. They thought, you know, we can do this at Stanford, but there's not the caliber of students at Penn State to come together year after year and pitch and produce like great companies like this at competitions, not like just this one, but all the others as well. And I mean, the very first startup that won this pitch competition, MoeCore, recently raised like another $8 million and is still going out, crushing it, and other accelerators. I'm sure all the other great founders here today will continue to do great work as well. So it just brings me immense gratification to see the caliber and the bar continuing to rise. So I want to thank you all again, specifically those who pitched today.
In the interest of burning time, I'm the director of the Farrell Center for Corporate Innovation Entrepreneurship. I just thought I'd say a few words about what we do, and then I'll pass the mic off to Ted. Our research center is located in the Smeal College of Business, and works in partnership with the Management Organization Department. We do a lot of things. We're like an octopus that supports innovation and entrepreneurship. So for example, we have our own venture capital fund. You may have heard of it. It's called the Garber Venture Capital Fund. It's administered by MBA students. We also have a larger population of entrepreneurs and innovators that exist remotely. So we provide a lot of services to professional master students and certificate students distributed all over the country that take our online master's programs and then turn around and ask for help. We help small businesses. We support entrepreneurship, and we subsidize what it's called our experiential program, where we put our interns with startup companies. We actually offer $5,000 innovation grants that support projects that go to the College of Engineering, to the Learning Factory, for prototyping and other things. So we do a lot of things. Just so you know, you can look us up on our website. But let me turn some time over to Ted before they hand us these checks.
All right. So and then I run the engineering entrepreneurship program, and one of the things that's unique about Penn State, unlike a lot of schools, no matter what college you're in, you can get an entrepreneurship minor at Penn State from any college. So you take 3 core classes, and then you take a cluster. You take a focus in engineering or hospitality or arts or music, whatever interests you. So it's a very unique system, and please take advantage of it. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you about the minor. You can take it no matter what college you're in. So, are we ready? All right. That's the end of the advertisements. And now I think we're on to the money. Not yet.
You can sing.
No, I can't. So along with the entrepreneurship program, we also have 2 other programs to help you get started. Again, as I said, we're trying to feed the entrepreneurial system. There's the Lion Launchpad Microgrant. So for student teams, you can get up to $500 just to get you started. Maybe it gets you a trademark so you own your brand. And then we also have the intern program, which is similar to the experience-ship that Cient runs, where we place you in a startup. So both startup founders, some of the founders here have interns, where we basically fund a student going into a startup for their first 150 hours. So the student gets the real-life entrepreneurial experience, which we try to teach it in the classroom, but until you're in the middle of it, one of our first interns is actually here tonight, who Jeanette was, I guess in the middle of the pandemic, we started this, and we managed to get her placed into Gage Ventures back 2 years ago. And now she's getting ready to join a startup. So, great story. But again, you just have to be in there to experience, and we're just trying to give students those opportunities to get in there.
I think we can get started. We already have a couple checks, so.
All right.
That first place is Dr. Clark. So
are we doing the check? Are we doing 6?
Well, the time has arrived. We finally have the checks. The big one is the sixth one. So we have for the final placements. Drum roll, please. Sixth place for On Bake Flour & Co. A round of applause, please. For our fifth place, we have Ithaca. A round of applause, please. For fourth place, we have Parentif. A round of applause. And the third place, we got the Ballet Scout. A round of applause, please. The bid checks are coming now, guys. And for second place tonight, we have Limitless. A round of applause. And last but not least, for the winner of the night and the best startup currently at Penn State, Table Rock Markets. A round of applause.
Social media. So I'm going to, when we started doing this pitch competition or funding this pitch competition, those of you that came in late, I'm Dr. Jeanette Meller I'm the Associate Director with Sean Clark at the Farrell Center. We saw that there was a need to focus also on companies that had an impact, an ESG impact, and also a minority founder, which we want to always highlight within our entrepreneurship programs. Unfortunately, the individuals that submitted pitches originally for the impact, no one is here tonight, so we're not going to award that. But for our minority founder, we have an award here that is going to Umi. Umi? Congratulations. And finally, for the People's Choice, drum roll again, we have Table Rock Markets.
Awesome. With that, we're about to close the night, but we cannot say this was, an event done only by us. We had a really, as I was saying, a really important partner that helped us build everything as we go in the Penn State ecosystem. And I would love to welcome the president of InnoBlue, Hayden, for some closing notes. A round of applause, please.
How's it going, guys? Thank you all for being here. Super great to see everybody. Normally, I'm used to staring at like 3 people in Zoom, so having like 100 people in person is pretty freaking awesome. So once again, thank you all for coming. This has been super great. Just to share with you a little bit about InnoBlue, as Leo said earlier, HVVC is centered mostly on venture capital and venture investing. At InnoBlue, what we try to do is provide you with the first stop by students for students to get introduced to the Penn State entrepreneurial ecosystem and provide a social outlet for founders to share what they're doing with one another. As founders at Penn State, we realize that it can often be a lonely and isolating journey. So we want to encourage you to find a community of people that do a lot of the same things and can kind of accompany you on your journey. So with that said, if you go to our website, innoblue.org, there's a form on there in which you can fill out if you see yourself as a founder, a team member, somebody looking for an idea, somebody that has an idea that doesn't know where to start. You fill out that form, it'll add you right into our ecosystem, right into our contact sheet, and we can reach out to you with more information. Additionally, we have an event coming up on Wednesday with the Nittany AI Student Society about founders utilizing AI, as well as have a trip to Pittsburgh coming up, which is going to be awesome. We're going to be meeting with a lot of the startup resources there. And lastly, in the fall, we run Blue Start, which is our intro to entrepreneurship festival. We have a couple people here that actually participated in Blue Start. They can tell you how awesome it was. So it'll be our second year doing that. And once again, it's by students for students to introduce you to the resources available. And there's even like a weekend event where you can kind of start from zero and hopefully have a functional business by the end of it. So I don't know if I missed anything, Leo, but thank you guys again for coming out. We can't say how much this means to us, and you all did great.
So on behalf of the Farrell Center, Engineering Entrepreneurship, Invent Penn State, thank you for coming out to Startup Week. There are a ton of great events, including the one that's going to be starting in about 7 minutes in this room. It's going to be on female founders and investing in female-backed companies. So something that's near and dear to my heart. So thank you all of your great work. Those of you that are thinking about entrepreneurship, you are at the right university. So congratulations to all the winners, and stay around for the female founders panel, and we'll see you throughout the week. Thank you.